Biggie Smalls once said, money and blood don't mix. That's all I can say right now. But most of the times when we think about building businesses, especially when we talk about generational wealth, a lot of times they say don't hire your family. Do it with people you don't know because you'll get more support. Well, what if I told you that you could start a business from your basement and create a multi-million-dollar business and allow it to be multi-generational? I'm talking about in-laws, grandparents, children, all of the above. Our next guests are going to break down the science of building a family business that is not only surviving, but thriving in these times. So stay tuned because we got a powerful episode for you.
Pay attention and listen, we about to teach class. Inside the vault, my man Ask Cash. So get your man right. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. You see him, you change your life. Millionaire mindset, the best on earth. Blueprint to wealth, the knowledge network. So get it while you can, and he's standing right here. Just come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You won't ask cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.
Welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ask Cash, the #1 financial literacy show that's going to help everyday people create multi-million dollars and 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure businesses. We are excited about the guests that we have today who are going to talk to us all about creating a family business. You know, a lot of times we are inundated with how to build wealth. They talk about generational wealth, and the truth of the matter is that generational wealth is lost within the 3rd generation. Why is that? That is because there is one generation that understands what it takes to build success, and the other generations are just handed the success, and that's why it goes away by the 3rd generation. Well, my guests today are going to talk about their journey of how they were able to create a multi-million-dollar business that spans 3 generations and is doing a justice for the Black community, for the hair care community, for families worldwide. We have John and Gillian Nelson in the building. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My brethren, my sister, straight from Jamaica. You know, before we jump into, creating a family business, for those who are just being introduced to you, our insiders, who is John, who is Gillian Nelson?
Go first.
So I'm Gillian Nelson, wife to this amazing human being right here. We have 3 kids. We run a premium family business, hair care and skincare line with our children, my husband, mother-in-law, and my mom. And we've managed to scale this thing from nothing to multiple 7 figures.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
And I'm Jonathannelson Nelson. This is my wife, Gillian. And like she said, it's a family business. Our mothers, our children, brother-in-law, 3 generations, all pushing on with a family business. Yeah.
And so talk to me about the start of Sunny Denbigh.
Yes.
Right? Talk to me about the start. Was it your intention to start a family business? Did it happen this way? Like, talk to us about how the business started.
So I joke all the time and I say, like, God tricked me into a business because my background was corporate. I worked there for like 20 years. I was a college professor, college counselor. And, in 2018, the end of 2018, I kind of felt like I was really depressed, and I kind of felt like I needed to do something with myself, like I needed to give birth to something, so to speak. And I went to Jonathan and I was like, babe, I think we need to have another kid, right? And he was like, for sure, that is not it. You need to figure out you need to figure out exactly what that thing is, but that's not it. So, the top of 2019, I joined a mentorship program with Neo, and went into this, signed up that day. And, in true Neo fashion, we're on a call that night, and everybody else in the group had a business. Like, they were working on something. They had established LLCs. I had a 9-to-5. I was just trying to figure this thing out. So he's going around the room and he's asking everybody, what do you do? Like, how can we help you? And then he gets to me and he's like, well, what's your business? And I'm like, I don't have a business, you know, like, he was like, okay, so what do you have in your house right now that you can make something with, you know, to sell or whatever? And I'm like, well, I don't know, I don't have anything. You know, he was like, well, you know, what do you like to do? And I'm like, well, actually, you know, I make hair and skincare products on my family. Because at the time I was just making like lotions and body butters and, you know, hair butters and shampoos and all that stuff for my daughters. And people would always comment about my daughters and how they had like such beautiful hair. And like, Jill, what are you using? And I just always blow it off. I'm like, you know, I'm just using some shea butter. Like I would never, I didn't see it as a thing of value. I didn't see it as something that the world would need. So I really just kind of minimized that and I kind of held on to it, you know? So Neo was like, make some stuff, send it to me. My wife and my daughter is natural, you know, send it to me and I'll let you know. And I'm like, all right, you know, I kind of drug my feet on it or whatever, but I did and I sent it to him and he was like, you know, this stuff is really good. Like you need to do something with this. And I'm like, all right. So, you know, as part of the program, we linked our Facebook and our Instagram together. We're supposed to be posting on our Instagram and going live and all of that stuff. So I was into that or whatever. And one day I accidentally posted a video, which I thought was meant for Instagram because my Instagram audience was different than my Facebook audience. Facebook audience, family and friends, right? Instagram could be anybody. So I was okay with sharing it with anybody. I didn't know those people, but I didn't want my friends and family to know that, you know, this was where I'm at and this is what I'm really trying to do. They know me as the corporate Jill, you know, not the Jill making, you know, shea butter in her kitchen, right? So I was trying to hide that part. So I posted to Instagram or what I thought was Instagram and it uploaded on my Facebook. And I started getting these messages from my friends. They were like, what are you making? Is that cake? Is that cupcake? Because the batter was like really rich and thick and it looked like a cake, right? And I'm like, actually, no, this is hair butter. I'm making this, you know, for my daughters. This is what I use on their hair. And they're like, we want it. And I'm like, well, it's not for sale. You know, and they're like, but, you know, we want to get it. We see the girls here. We want to get whatever you have. You know, can we buy it? And I'm like, well, I don't even have a price. Like, what would I sell it for? So they were like, we don't know, but just tell us we want it. So I'm like making up prices. Prices was all wrong. Wasn't even considering how much ingredient. This looked like $5. This looked like $10. You know, that's kind of how I was doing it. And I got my first 8 orders from my Facebook family and friends, right? Wow. And then, so it was like, they started using it. They loved it. They told their moms started using it. So for like the first couple of months, my customers were my friends and their mothers and their church sisters, you know, who's going through chemo and she needs something to grow her hair back. Or this person just had a baby and she got postpartum hair loss. So, you know, do you have something for that? And that's kind of how we started. It was completely by accident, was not an intentional act. I didn't consider myself a business person. I couldn't sell water to a desert. Right. I'm not a salesy person at all, you know. So it was truly God's way of tricking me into greatness because Jonathan's been telling me for years, he was like, babe, you make all this beautiful stuff like soaps and creams. He was like, people would love this. And I just always justified my life by thinking, I got kids, I got a family, I got a job. I don't have time to take on anything else. But when I tell you, it's like, I'm so grateful. My life, my family's life has forever changed just by that unintentional act. I mean, I needed to be tricked because otherwise I wouldn't have did it, you know?
No,
so
100%,
yeah.
100%. Yeah. And then how did the family, right? Because you got, your parents are involved. Like, how did the family get involved? At what point did the family get involved in the business?
I think it was natural. She was working on her project and everybody supported her. And I think it's very important that men in our households, we need to make sure that everybody's maximizing who they are. So it's just very important that she had this project and to show her support. And everybody came around her. And at first she was doing it by herself because you never want to drown somebody else's voice. You want them to find their voice. But as it gets to a certain level and they need help with this, they need help with, boxing, or you may need to go online and look up an ingredient, you start to kind of like, okay, let me help you with this. Let me help you with that. And it was just natural for both of our moms and my father. They would come along. My father would come along and he would sit down on the couch. He was in his older years at the time. He since passed, but he was in his older years and he would actually see her make the product. And he would see us kind of like talking and stuff like that. And we didn't even know we were growing as a company. And he would say, oh, I see y'all growing. So my dad, you know, God rest his soul in peace, he's an old African man. So he goes, business doing good. And we like, yeah, okay. But we just working. So eventually it was very natural. It wasn't a conversation to say we're starting this business. It was very weird. She comes from a very corporate background. You're talking about a college professor of 17 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's certain accolades and certain things where she's like, I'm a college professor.
Yeah.
I come from a corporate background, working with nonprofit and government for the longest at the highest level. So we were just like, this is a business. We're just looking at it little by little. But the family members that are a part of the team, it was natural. Just like, hey, you guys are making product. We're gonna come over. We're gonna cook.
Yeah.
While you guys make product.
Yeah.
So it's very natural. They just kind of like all came in and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. And I wanna talk a little bit about that transition though, right, from corporate to business owner, because a lot of our insiders who watch the show have a 9-to-5. They're high earners. You're a professor, 17 years. So I know you were a high earner as well. And so at what point or talk a little bit about that transition from corporate, right? For being, someone who's working corporate to now saying, you know what, I'm going to start this business. And the reason why I want to talk about that transition because, I feel like, as myself, right? I was a banker, executive. And, when you make that transition, you almost got to take yourself back, and ego plays into it. There's a lot that goes into having to make that transition. So talk to us about that.
It was hard. And I mean, it was a lot of unlearning that needed to happen.
Yeah.
Because, in the corporate world, you're held to a certain standard. If something goes wrong, you're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to protect your job. You're afraid to make mistakes. You're afraid to go against the grain. And being an entrepreneur is all about just like, making it happen however you can make it happen, especially in like the very beginning. So it was a lot of unlearning that needed to happen. I spent a lot of time by myself, like the people that I used to hang out with, the circles I used to roll in, I kind of took myself away from that because I was growing. I wasn't even aware that it was like happening, but I was growing. I was changing. I was like deprogramming. I remember the last year on my job was the hardest for me because I realized soon after we started the business that I remember the first month we made like, not the first month, but a couple of months in, we made our first 10 grand, right? And I was doing this. It's not even on the scale we're doing it now. Yeah. And I was just thinking, I pulled up in the parking lot at work one morning and I'm like, man, I could probably quit this job. Yeah. Like if I could make 10 grand doing this, like, just willy-nilly, imagine what would happen if I had my entire day and I could go all in. Yeah. On my job, I was making 6 figures, but, per day, I was probably making like $300-400 a day. That's what it kind of breaks down to. Yeah. And I'm making that on the job. And then by the time I leave work in the evening, I have made $1,500 in my business. So it was like a tug of war for me for a long time. But I'm a very calculating person as well. So I didn't want to leave my 9-to-5 too quick because that's one of the mistakes a lot of entrepreneurs make. We feel this pressure when we start business to leave your regular job real fast and jump into this entrepreneurship thing. And that's a big mistake because if you don't have enough money stacked up, a lot of times businesses fail just for that reason. You do payroll a couple of months and that's all your savings right there, right? Yeah. So you have to be really strategic. And I stayed on that job for 2 years after, even after we made our first meal, I was on that job acting like nothing.
Word.
To this day, I have never told anybody on my job. They probably gonna know now with this interview.
Absolutely.
But nobody ever knew what, they just didn't know.
You were an employed millionaire.
Let me tell you something. I was in there moving and shaking like nothing was going on. There was nothing to see here, nothing, nothing exciting. And, sometimes we just gotta shut our mouths, put our head down, do the work. And when it's your time to shine, you'll shine. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. I love that. And was it an easy thing to build this business? Was there difficult times? Go ahead, just talk to us, John.
How much time you got, Ash? How much time you got? Seriously.
It was probably the most difficult thing that we had to do as individuals and as a team and as a family. Yeah. First of all, she talks about a reprogramming, right? You go to a job every day. Yeah. When you're at a job, you are a babysitter. 9 to 5, you're watching their kid. When you're an entrepreneur, you're raising that kid.
Oh, that's a
right?
That's a bar right there. Yep.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hold on, don't press that button because that's what I do every time I'm looking at an ad that I don't want to see. This ad just happened to be life-changing. I just happen to own one of the biggest home healthcare companies in the state of Georgia. I can help you create your own. Just to give you a little bit of insight, I send out registered nurses, LPNs, and CNAs to take care of people inside of the homes that cannot take care of themselves. But guess what? You don't have to have any medical background and you don't have to have any medical knowledge. So if you're wanting to change your life and you have a passion for actually taking care of people, then go ahead and sign up for Home Healthcare Blueprint. I'll see you guys later.
So now you don't turn it off at all.
Yeah.
But instead of that, you're babysitting and you're raising a kid at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're talking about from the very beginning when we start to see kind of like our numbers go up, you're looking at us going to work, coming from work, feeding our kids, making product, going to bed 3 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 5, waking up at 6, taking stuff to the post office, going back to work, same rotation. To the point where she'll go to sleep.
You're missing a whole, he missing a whole section. Like, it got so bad. Our daughter, our oldest at the time was 12, right? It got so bad. We had so many orders. It was just me and him. We were struggling so bad. We would wake her up in the morning at 5 o'clock. And I'm like, listen, we got to be out of the house at 9 o'clock. Between 5 and 7, I need you to help us to pack these bundles. Wow. So the girls will wake up. One was 10, one was 12. Our products are natural, right? So like, for example, our deep conditioner has to be kept frozen. So we send it out all bubble wrapped up. So one is bubble wrapping, the other one is packing. You know, I'm like trying to get the other orders together. We cut it off at 7 o'clock. They go take their baths. They eat breakfast real quick. We're out the door by 8:30. Drop them off at school at 9. I head to the post office. After he done took the run that I packed the night before. So he's leaving at 4 in the morning. He took the first run to that post office that opens at 7 at Shady Grove, right? And this was just our life. Like, so our kids are literally in a master class without even being in a master class, you know? So they have witnessed us growing this business from nothing. We didn't have to sit them down and say, you know what, watch to see what we're doing. Listen, last year, right? At the end of last year, him and I, we went to Jamaica. We tried to get away for a couple of days every once in a while because we burn out. He ended up getting COVID the day we were supposed to be gone for 4 days. Wow. We ended up staying for like 3 weeks, okay? Wow. He tested positive. I'm like, I'm not leaving him. I'm going to stay here, whatever. So in the meantime, we had only planned to be gone for 4 days. And we ended up being gone for
17 days.
Yeah, something crazy, right? I was on the phone with my, at the time, 15-year-old, right? I'll just tell her to play. This is what I need you to do. That business ran seamlessly. Without both of us were down. Our moms were home with her. My brother was there taking packages for us to the post office. Our daughters, our children understand the business. They know the products. They know the intricacies of it. You know, and I mean, that has just happened by them just being flies on the wall, just watching, you know? We never had to say, get a pen and paper and write this down. So all that to say, Ash, if there's anybody out there, if you got a business, get your children involved. We talk about generational wealth, and I think we feel like generational wealth means we gonna leave a bag of money to these kids. Don't leave your money for these children. Leave them with a skill. Show them how to create wealth for themselves. And the way you show them is to have them work in your business, have them just watch and see what you do. And it doesn't have to be anything intentional, but just them being in that environment. You know what I'm saying? They will never be broke. They will always have what we want them to have, which is generational wealth, because now they have that skill and they know how to do it.
I agree with that. Like, my son is 7 years old, right? And he's always seeing my wife and I, you know, work in the business. And he's always asking, Mom, how can I make money? Dad, how can I make money? Literally, my wife bought a skirt that was too small for her. And she's like, I'm gonna sell it. He's like, I'll sell it for you. And he said, I'm gonna go outside and sell it. So she's like, how are you gonna sell it? He's like, oh, I'm just gonna say, you know, skirt for sale, right? And so, you know, I'm glad that you said that, because as you talk about, you know, generational wealth, family business, things of that nature, it's really not about telling
the family. It's about showing the family. And then as you show the family, you know, what you're doing, that's how you get, you know, people to support the vision, right? Because sometimes, you know, we expect support. We expect people to be there for us, but we haven't shown them why they should be supporting, right? And I love what you said, you know, even about how a business, you know, is run, right, compared to a 9-to-5, where in a 9-to-5 you are babysitting. Yo, one more time, say that bar for the audience. You gotta look at that camera and tell that bar to that audience, man.
If when you go to work, you are babysitting. You are babysitting somebody else's baby. 9-to-5, you're clocking at 9, you leave at 5. And guess what happens when you get off? You don't have no responsibility. When you're running a business, you are basically raising a child. Because guess what? After 6 months, you got to switch up. When your baby hit 2, it's a whole different person. Your baby hit 5. And what happens when your baby's a teenager? Right? So you have to then switch with the growth. So you have to switch your mindset of saying, listen, this ain't a 9-to-5. I'm on 24/7. And you have to include your kids in the business. You talk about your son. I'll give you an example. I watch all your podcasts. I watch all the business podcasts, and I listen to Bloomberg. I'm in my car taking my son to school. He's about to be 10 years old. And they're talking about how the market is down. And he said, man, this sounds like it's about to be a bear market.
Sheesh.
I didn't tell him about a bear market. He's constantly watching that. Every phone call we take, my kids are around. I'm not going to be like, go away, I'm doing a business phone call. I'm right there. I'm right there. I want you to soak this up, because generational wealth is leaving that skill set, leaving that knowledge that I can create something from scratch. That once you're gone, however situation you leave them with, they have those skills. We literally need to start birthing entrepreneurs, to be honest with you.
And yo, I don't want y'all to miss the bar though. That was crazy though, right? Because, and I'll probably credit you one time, but I'm gonna use this going forward. But yo, think about the bar. Like if you compare, you know, your business, right, to raising children. I have a 14-year-old, I have a 7-year-old. And it's true, right? You go from one period to the next and you're raising that kid one way. Then they, you know, after a certain period, they change and now you're raising them this way. My daughter's 14, totally different person. Like I remember, like from when from 2, it's like she kept changing all the time. And then now she's 14, totally different person. So I have to get to know her and really help her grow based on where she is right now. And the truth of the matter with businesses, it's the same thing, right? You start the business. A lot of us are, you know, we hustlers. We hustling. You can hustle your way to 6 figures. You can't hustle your way to 7.
Right.
No.
You know
what I'm saying? You gotta have systems. You have to have teams. You have to delegate. And so talk about that, right? Talk about the different seasons and the different things that you guys had to go through, from starting out in your basement to now a multi-million-dollar business. And what have been, you know, what were those transitions, and what advice would you give to people who are, you know, in their transitioning seasons as a business?
So I would say, you know, you gotta roll with the punches. Don't fight it, right? And you're gonna take L's. And by L's, I mean L's we think of as losses. But to me, or I used to look at them as losses. To me, they're not lessons. Like I've learned so many things, and I'm so grateful for those mistakes that we made along the way. But to your point, like we started in our kitchen, right? Parents would come on the weekends, and I don't know, to this day, I'm still trying to figure it out. Did they just feel sorry for us? Like, these two fools really believe in the shea butter. Let me just help them, you know? Or was it that they saw the vision? And I really think now they see the vision. They're so vested. We were able to like retire our moms, and they now like work with us. So like my mom, she does all things herbal oil. So we have a herbal growth oil, which is like one of our customer favorite bestsellers. My mother is responsible for that. His mom is like all things black soap shampoo. She loves the black soap shampoo, and she could tell you everything about that. So they kind of just seamlessly found their strengths, you know? And we kind of play to our family's strengths. So like my brother, for example, He runs the warehouse. He does the inventory. He handles like all the deliveries, you know. He does like the mail runs and organizes all the stuff with UPS. That's his strong point, right? I can't put him in charge of Shea Butter because that ain't him, right? So we kind of played to our family's strengths. Everybody kind of fell into their role. But the evolution was from, we lived in this tiny 2-bedroom townhouse. We were tripping over boxes. Like, you know, we had a path in and out of the house, like literally, like everybody knew the path. If you woke up at night and had to go to the bathroom, don't trip over a box, you know, like we had stuff everywhere. And like, you know, we almost had a fire one day.
Tell them about the fire.
The fire department came in and it was like, what are y'all doing? Why do y'all have all these boxes, you know? But we were trying to move, but we couldn't move because in order to move, when you have a business, you need to have like 2 years worth of business taxes. We didn't have that at the time. So we had to like hold on to like our 9-to-5s to kind of show proof of income in order for us to move. And that took a little while. Eventually we did move, and the basement of our house, we moved into like a big house. So like 3,000 square feet of our house was like now our production space, right? So we went from this tiny apartment to now we had this whole basement, and we're like, yes, we're good. This is it.
The basement was 3,000 square feet.
Yes, the basement. Our house is huge. Our house is huge.
Don't miss that. Don't miss that.
Now, but
this
don't
is the
miss
key.
where we came
Don't
from,
miss
though.
the key, though.
Don't miss where we
Don't miss
came
the
from.
key that we came from a 2-bedroom townhouse.
Yeah.
But we moved not to a warehouse. We moved to a bigger house in order for our business to grow. Right?
Yeah.
So we didn't just jump.
Right.
We said, listen, this is also the phase where during COVID with our townhouse, right? It was just 2 of us packing everything.
Yeah.
You can't do that forever. You're going to burn out.
Yeah.
We literally packed 700 packages in 5 days, 2 people.
Yeah. Wow.
Exhausted.
Wow. Yeah.
Everything was shut down. We would leave the boxes outside. The mailman would come, and we would put in, you know, and you go online, you put it in because nobody's going anywhere with COVID.
Right.
The mailman would come and he would be cursing outside. Like, I can't believe I got to do all these packages.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's a phase. And then after that, we're like, well, hold up. If you're doing a business, we can't pack all day because we got to do customer service, right? We got to do inventory, right? We got to do logistics.
Yeah.
So let's move to a bigger space.
Yeah.
Not because we want to move into a bigger house for bigger house sake.
Yeah.
But you're moving into a bigger space to now make your business grow.
Yep. 100%.
So that's kind of like the next step.
Yeah.
That's the next step. Right?
And a couple months into that, maybe like what, 6 months later?
6 months into that, we were like,
looking at the basement like, this ain't it either.
This ain't it. Wow.
Like, yeah, we gotta go. Like, you know, we were just growing. Like COVID was devastating for a lot of businesses, but a lot of businesses took off during COVID.
100%, yeah.
And I mean, for us in the natural hair care space, a lot of women were forced to deal with their hair for the first time during COVID. Remember now, Black women, we go to the beauty shop, we get our nails done, we get our hair done, you know, we get our feet done, eyebrows, all that stuff. During COVID, none of that was happening. Yeah. So women at home, they know how to deal with their hair. They know how to deal with their daughter's hair. And they're like, where do we go? What do we do? Yeah. Well, we have this platform. You know, they found us on Instagram. Our products were natural. Not only that, you know, I do a lot of tutorials with my own daughters, you know, us just sitting at home, you know, washing hair, sitting the girls between my legs, whether standing up, doing hair. And women were able to watch those tutorials and follow along. So it's like, okay, here is this bundle for moisture. Your daughter's hair is dry. Okay, yes, we got you. But in addition to that, this is how you use it. In addition to that, you have a problem, send us an email. I'll help you. In addition to that, I'll go live with you. Come on my live, show me your daughter's hair. Let me show you how to use a product. So, I mean, our business just took off. And we did not have the physical capacity in terms of space, nor it was just us, right? So, and the problem we had when we moved to the house was, you just don't want to bring anybody into your home, right? So we hired 2 people to help us with packing, which is where we saw the beauty of getting people to help you. It was like we had so much free time. No, by free time, I meant like an hour or 2 free a day. That was a lot for us. Like, you mean I could take a nap? I could go to the I couldn't do that for the past 2 years. So, you know, just putting people to do the things that you didn't necessarily want to do anymore, or our time is more valuable than packing orders, right? So getting somebody to help us pack, getting someone to like help us with bottling and packaging and all of that stuff, we saw where we now had the money to pay other people to help make our jobs easier. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what we did during that season. So,
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video. And talk a little bit about your products and even the hair care business, right? Because, you know, we know the hair care, or some may not know, but the hair care industry is a $20 billion industry, right? And of that $20 billion, you know, the Black community spends about $500 million in there, but we only control about 3%. Right. And something that was interesting, we were talking behind the scenes, was that, you know, most of the products have like chemicals that's actually causing the alopecia and causing the hair loss and causing all types of different things, which is why we spend so much money on hair care products, because there is no brand loyalty. Like we're looking for a solution, and we keep buying a solution that's causing the problem.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's a whole, you know, hamster wheel that us Black women, we go on, you know, we do protective styles, and, you know, we lose our hair from just doing our braids and our weaves just too tightly. And we buy these products that are sold on the retail shelves that are packed filled with chemicals. They cause a lot of health issues. I didn't realize how many women suffered with alopecia and hair loss until I got into this space, you know, and they'll DM me, they'll send us emails of what their hair really looks like underneath that wig, underneath that weave. And women are really not taking care of their natural strands. We cover it up, right? It's like putting a Band-Aid on it, right? But like I said, COVID exposed a lot of things, okay? So now we had to deal with that issue. And like, women come to us for alopecia. Women come to us for like, you know, all types of hair loss, postpartum hair loss. We serve a lot of moms who just had babies and their hair is just falling out. Hormonal changes, right? Post-COVID, like people were losing so much hair after having COVID, and no one could really figure out why. And that's because people were having these high fevers, and it was really killing like the hair follicles, and people were just losing hair. And our product provided a solution to that. You know, so people are out here, you go to the retail store, you buy products, you try it, it doesn't work. You come home, you put it under your, if you ever been under a Black woman's bathroom cabinet, okay, that's a lot of money under there, all right? So, you know, we keep shopping around looking for that perfect product, which we're never able to find, because the honest to God truth is, there are not a lot of natural, truly natural products made by God, you know, the way it was supposed to be used. They just don't exist. You know, so when people find our products, when people come to us and we're getting testimonials after using our products one time, like, oh my God, where have you guys been all my life? I've been struggling with this dry hair. You know, my hair is growing back. I've had this bald spot for, like, Ash, the most beautiful part of the work we do is the feedback we get from our customers. I mean, entrepreneurship is hard. And there are days when I'm like, you know what, forget these hair products. I'm tired. I got enough money. I'm out, right? And then you'll get an email, you'll get a message, and you're like, I'm so grateful for what you did for my child, or for me, or for my grandmother. There's this beautiful story we have about this lady. She's now no longer with us, but she was a chemo patient. And when we first started, we used to vend. We used to do like, on Saturdays, we'd pack up with the kids and the moms and we'll go sell, right? Sometimes we ain't make no money, but it was good. It was good to be out there, right? So I met this lady at one of our shows, and I had this we have this oil called the Intensive Scalp Oil. I joke and I say it could grow hair on a rock, and it really can, because it's amazing, right? I dreamt about that recipe, by the way. Like, that's another weird thing that happens.
The ancestors in you.
Let me tell you something. I will just take a nap because I'm tired, and I'll just wake up with a whole new formulation. And I'm really funny because I don't like selling things that I haven't used on myself or my family. But when God drops something in my spirit, I know it's a go, right? So made this oil. went to this show, and this lady comes up to me and she was like, I'm looking for an oil for my mom. She's currently going through chemo, lost all her hair, and I'm looking for something natural to grow her hair back. And I tried to sell her the herbal growth oil because I knew that oil worked. I didn't know that this intensive, because I had just dreamt about it. And I just made it, right? And I was just selling it for the first time. So I'm like, yeah, get the herbal growth. She was like, what about that one? She kept on pointing to the intensive. And I'm like, nah, get the other one. She was like, nah, I think I want that one. She bought it, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. About a month later, I get this email and a picture of a before and after of this girl's mom. First picture, clean bald head, lady going through chemo, lost all her hair. Next picture, little afro, you know, with her little pepper and salt, you know, gray hair or whatever. And she kept on sending me like progress reports of this lady or whatever. And then I stopped hearing from her. I hadn't heard from her for like a while, you know. But people fall off. That's just how the hair cake game goes. You know, you keep switching up. So then I got a message from her about a year later. She was like, you know, I just want to tell you, thank you for making my mom's last year of her life like so, special. She was like, she loved her afro. You know, she got her confidence back. And she's no longer with us. But I just wanted to tell you, thank you for changing her life. And it's just stuff like that that we get on the regular that just, when you feel like you're making an impact, when you feel like you're doing something positive in the world, even when you're tired and you're beat down and, you know, you want to quit, it's just stuff like that that just really, really keeps you going. So,
No, I love that. I love that. You know, Dr. Claude Anderson says, buy black, sell to everybody, right? Have you guys been successful by only selling to black people, or is there a mixture or diversity in who uses your products and services?
So there's definitely a mix. When we first started out, because these products were made for my daughter. This is really how we started. This was like a personal thing for me. This was family, right? He had really bad eczema, Ash. And we had 3 kids. And this man was sitting up telling me he couldn't do bottles. He couldn't bathe the children because he got eczema and he was going to break out underneath between his skin was so bad. I'm like, well, I ain't taking care of these 3 kids by myself, so we're going to fix this, all right? And that's what I did. Our body butter did that, right?
Nice.
So initially, if you ask me, I would probably say our products were made for curly people. People with curly, coily hair, like my daughters, like mine. But as the years went on, other people would ask, can I use this product? And I'm like, it's natural, you know, because people are drawn to us because of the natural nature of our products. And I'm like, yeah. Now we have like white women who have biracial kids shopping with us, white women who adopted black children, you know, shopping with us. We really took off and like diversified the people we served during COVID. Like I told you, like a lot of people were experiencing hair loss from COVID. And our acai bundle and our protein treatment works really well for people that have finer hair. So, you know, people that have straight hair, not curly hair like ours, so like type 1, type 2 hair, it worked really well for them. So we serve everybody. We also have a lot of men, like a lot of men trying to grow their beards in.
I was gonna say, because look at John's beard, but look, I got 2 patches right here. You know what I'm saying? I got some patches right here.
We got you.
I've been look for the last 10 years. I've been trying to grow this little thing up here.
We got you. So we have a lot of guys that reach out to us as well, and I mean, using our products, they have beautiful, because you know what I find? Because men keep their hands out of their hair grows more. Hair likes low manipulation. Hair doesn't like for you to be in the everyday parting and touching, and that's what we do as women. So men will have a higher success rate with hair growth than women will, because they just simply keep their hands out of their head. So we have a lot of guys that, you know, even dreadlocks, you know, when you have like locks for a long time, eventually the roots kind of get thin, you know, and that intensive scalp oil, we get like beautiful testimonials. So we serve like, we started out one way, but by the grace of God, we're out here serving everybody. Honestly, and getting real beautiful results. So.
And I think to also add to that, that's also based on 2 things. That's based on education. If you notice, like you're talking to her and she's going deep into it. She's giving you the cause. She's giving you this. Like, our goal isn't just to sell a product to anybody. Our goal is to educate you first, and then you make an educated decision, right? And also community.
Yeah.
So the reason you said, hey, you started with a Black brand, but now you're selling to everybody, because people start coming back to us and say, hey, you know what? I'm from South America, or I'm Caucasian, and I use this product, and we look at our analytics, and we're like, well, hold up, this demographic works with this product, this demographic works with that product, and we talk to our community. So a huge part of a business is you got to talk to your community.
Yeah,
you got to see what's going on, get their feedback, and you also have to educate them.
Yeah.
Like you can't just say, hey, I'm selling this. Well, why am I selling it? What's the purpose? Who is it for? All of those things are very important.
Yeah. And I love that. And so what advice would you give, right? There's somebody right now watching this who has a 9-to-5, they have a product, they have a service that they want to, get off the ground. What advice would you give to that person?
Go ahead.
One thing I wish I knew was the value of community, like building a tribe.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that truly until maybe the past year and a half. If you can get a community of people around you, people that trust you, people that you show up for every day, you get on live, you talk to them. It's not, you just don't show up when you have a new product or when you have a sale. You talk to these people, our community, I know who's pregnant. I know who about to have get a divorce, who got a new car. We talk about stuff. You know what I'm saying? When you got a community of people around you that really ride for you and that trust you, on your end, you got to be able to be a trustworthy, honest person. You got to be able to not hide from these people when things happen, right? So if I say, okay, you know what? We have this new bundle coming on Friday and it's going to drop on Friday and something happens on Wednesday and I'm like, man, we ain't going to be able to drop this on Friday. Get in front of the people.
Right.
Don't try to hide and be like, I'm not going on live or I'm not going to show up until... Be honest. People appreciate transparency. People trust you when you're honest with them, when they feel like, you won't lie to them. They'll buy from you. They'll continue to support you. So for that person who is currently working a 9-to-5 that maybe has a business or thinking of a way to grow their business, I would say don't underestimate the value of community. Be honest, be a person of your word, be ethical. Small businesses and Black businesses, we got a horrible reputation. People are like, this is why I don't shop with Black businesses. Be the change, be the exception. Let's break that stigma. Black businesses, small businesses, we can provide good customer service. We can, sell excellent products. And let's do that for our community. If you're going to do it, just do it well, and stop taking shortcuts and hiding. And people talk about you.
Yeah.
They talk about you and your brand suffers eventually. Yeah. So that's honestly what I would say. Community and just being truthful and ethical. Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
I would say a few things, but I would say do what you love, because starting a business is so difficult. And if you're not doing what you love, what's going to happen is the first thing that goes wrong, you're going to be like, this isn't for me. If you notice, AskCast, there's a lot of people who are serial entrepreneurs. They're jumping from here to there because there's no purpose. Once you're doing what you love, if you love to do interviews with people, and you've probably been doing interviews for a long time, you were doing interviews before you even knew you were doing interviews. You were talking to people when you were in the bank,
100%,
right?
100%.
You were talking to people when you were in the bank. That was interviews. You was prepping yourself, right?
100%,
If you would do it for free, why wouldn't you do it to get paid for it?
Absolutely.
So I would say do what you love, and then build around that. Another thing I would say is feed your mind. Feed your mind. Once you start to constantly feed your mind with business books, books with bettering yourself over and over again, podcasts. I could tell you my top 3 podcasts with Ash Cash. I could tell you the top 5 for probably 10 podcasts that's out there right now. YouTube is free.
Right.
Feed your mind. Because what happens is once you start to feed your mind, you remove all the limitations. An example is this. The #1 wealthy family in America is the Waltons. That's a family business. When we go to Walmart, we're going into a family business. The Waltons that's not a 100-year family business. People don't even think about that, right? That's less than 100 years ago. So if you feed your mind, you start to see these little things and you start to realize, all these people that we're looking at, the Bill Gates of the world, or, you know, the people from Apple, those are just regular people.
Yeah.
And once you start to feed your mind, you get to a certain level and you're like, hold up, I can do better.
Yeah.
I can do better. And
Yeah.
you start to go up. So I would definitely say feed your mind.
Yeah.
And one last thing, Ash, I would say family. Don't neglect the importance of bringing your family on this journey with you, especially the children. You know, get them to help you. However, they may be little. Maybe all they could do is fold some paper or whatever. It's not by force, but make sure whatever it is you're doing, they're a part of it. You know, keep them around you while you're working. You know, if you can find, I wouldn't hire everybody in my family, but if you can find some good, hardworking, trustworthy people in your family, keep your family close. And as Black people, this is really how we're going to build generational wealth. Is teaching the people. Maybe your cousin isn't an entrepreneur per se, doesn't have that mindset, but they could manage the warehouse. You know, they can help with deliveries, right? You know, so bring that person along with you, put them on payroll, play to their strengths. And that's really how we're going to break this thing and build generational wealth, so to speak. You know, it's just really getting our immediate families involved and just loving our community. We got to work together as a community. We got to work together as a people. Us fighting and tearing each other down has gotten us nowhere. You know, we really need to just bring it all in and just like focus on family if you can. So
if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, or small business owner who wants to get more visibility for your product or service, then consider advertising on Inside the Vault. We have been seen and heard over 2 million times, and as the show continues to grow, your ad would be embedded in our episodes forever. So the return on investments on advertising with us is unmeasurable and invaluable. If you're interested in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, then text podcast to 646-687-4152 or email us at info@insidethevaultshow.com. Allow your business to get the visibility that it deserves.
And so you guys have a, you know, upcoming challenge coming on. So you want to teach the community. Talk a little bit about your challenge.
Yeah, so we're working on a challenge that's coming up. And what we're going to do is pretty much go from teaching you how to go from your basement to a warehouse. The different phases, the different seasons, like how, I know you always got bars, like how Nas said, right? My actions are always one with the seasons, right?
Yes.
So maybe this season, all you're doing is grinding. You're not even making any money. You're just getting out there, right? Maybe this season, you're packing. You know what I mean? Maybe this season, you're trying to figure out on the back end why my business is running slower or why it's going faster. So we're going to show people the different phases that you go through. There's certain seasons where you're like, I can't do this anymore. There's somebody else who's more effective. How to work with different team members, right? So for example, there's no ego. There's a hierarchy in our company, but there's no ego. My decision is not the end all be all. Her decision isn't the end all be all. The decision is what's best for the company, what's best for the team. Everybody becomes vested in that. An example is my brother-in-law. He does all of the shipping, right? The actual, once packages go out, he makes sure they're all out. He goes on vacation for 2 weeks and he calls me and he's like, hey, bro, did the packages go out today? So he's holding me accountable,
100%,
right? So I think that's a huge part of just seeing the different steps and the different phases of, hey, you start small, you see the vision, you build on the vision, and every step as you go along, you kind of tilt. And also we're going to show people how to build systems because you can't grow without systems. You know what I mean? You'll just be doing the same thing over and over and over. There's only 24 hours in the day. Right? So you got to maximize your 24 hours and know what you're good at, what she's good at, and also just little things. For example, when you're at a regular job, when you're not doing good, you know what you do? You don't tell anybody. You're like, I'm going to wait till the boss just find out. Hopefully they don't fire me, right? But when you're an entrepreneur or when you're working in a family business or on your own business, you know what you do with your team members? You say, hey guys, I'm struggling with this. Who's going to pick this up for me? Right? Or what do I need? Maybe I'm avoiding this right now. How do I solve this problem? And that's how the whole team kind of like, you know, stays together and, you know, you keep on growing. So yeah, our challenge is pretty much.
We're going to show.
Show people the different steps.
How we, you know, grew from nothing to multiple seven figures, you know, starting out with a product-based business and growing it to where we are now, to where we just got our first warehouse and, you know, we're continuing to scale and do well. So I know I could have benefited from that when I first started.
Yeah, well,
so I figured, you know, a lot of people could probably use that guidance and information as well. So that's what our challenge is going to be about.
So love that. I actually have a question, right? So, you know, we talked earlier about businesses going from season to season to season. And I know as the money grows, tax bracket grows, you might have started as a sole proprietorship and needed the LLC. Like, talk a little bit about that transition from business structure and things of that nature.
So that was actually crazy because we started out as LLC. Mm-hmm. Now we're an escort because we're on payroll and all of that stuff. But the interesting part was when we first started, like, our growth happened so fast. Like, I think it was maybe like 6 months after we started, I went to dinner with a friend one day. And she's actually my kid's dentist, right? And she's like, how is business? She would buy products from us and everything. And she was like, man, these products are good. Like, how's it going? And I'm like, you know, it's going good. And she's like, can I ask you, like, how much are y'all making? And I'm like, yeah, we're probably making like, at the time we're making like 20 grand a month, right? And she was like, do you have an accountant? And I'm like, no, I don't need that. Why I need an accountant? She was like, no, you need an accountant. Like, you need somebody to help you to like manage your money, make sure you pay your taxes and all of this stuff. And I kind of drug my feet on it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So she gave me the number to her accountant. Eventually I called him and I remember it was the end of December, 2019, right? 2019. Yeah. We went to the accountant and he was just blown away. He was like, man, y'all are making all this money. And I'm like, yeah. He was like, he said, let me see your account. I don't think he believed us. Yeah. He was like, pull it up, let me see it. Yeah. And I pulled it up on my phone and I showed it to him. And my hand to God, this man almost fell out the chair. He was like, why do y'all have all this money in the bank? Right. And I'm like, well, I mean, we putting it back in our business. Ain't that what we supposed to do? Yeah. He was like, not like that. Right. You supposed to be buying stuff with it. He was like, you got to pay taxes on all of this stuff. Right. And I'm like, so it's the last week of December. We're like scrambling to buy equipment, you know, buying laptops, like trying to spend this money. Because he was like, you guys have to pay taxes on this money. And it's going to be a lot of taxes. But we were so busy working and stacking money. And we treat our business as, so it's Gillian, it's Jonathan, and it's Sunny, right? So we don't touch Sunny's money. Yeah. Sunny is like its own person. Yeah. You know, we got to go through a chain of command before we can touch Sunny's money. Right. So Sunny's money was over there growing, and we didn't realize that we couldn't, this money's not insured by the bank at this point. Like, you're taking a big risk, right? Yeah. So, you know, we got hit hard that year for taxes because we just, you don't know what you don't know, you know? And, yeah, so at a certain point, you do want to transition from an LLC, and I would recommend doing that once you're ready to leave your 9-to-5, and you can now successfully pay yourself on payroll, maybe pay somebody else, then you can transition into an escort because then it's bigger tax breaks, right? You can hire your kids as well. We hire our children, and that's a huge tax break as well. You know, you can put money, there are ways that you can not hide your money, but places you can put your money where it doesn't get doesn't get taxed as much, you know? And that's like putting money in like your retirement account, you know, putting your kids on payroll, you know, having a payroll, you know what I'm saying? So when you transition to an S-Corp, that's definitely helpful in terms of like tax breaks and all of that stuff. But man, we got that. That's still a tough pill to swallow. When we had to cough up that money, I was like,
I also think what's important is, if you're starting off, go to an accountant. In fact, talk to somebody who has another business, right? Just be like, hey, who's your accountant, right? Yeah. Just go to an accountant and just let them, even if you have to pay that person for them to just look at your books, because you may be further along than you think, or you may already start to be at a point where there's certain breaks that you need to be educated with. So get yourself in a circle with a good accountant to look at your numbers, to look to see what you're going, so they can tell you, hey, this is how you grow, and put all your money back into your business. Yes. Like, don't ball out because you just made like $100. Yeah. Put all your, we didn't touch our bank account, payroll, nothing for the first 2 years. Like she said, there's 3 people in this relationship. Yeah. It's us and Sunny. Yeah. And that's like a whole different situation. Yeah. And what's weird is, not even weird, but what's funny is, our accountant became one of our mentors. Because as we're talking to him, he's like, listen, most successful people build their businesses from their kitchen anyway. This is the guy. Our accountant was such a mentor that as we're riding around our city, he's like, oh, I own that building. I own this building. And so he's giving you all of these gems.
Right.
And when it's time to move, he's like, oh, I know a guy who can do real estate. Yeah, I got you at your house.
Yeah.
I'll tell somebody.
Yeah.
So I would say as you go along in the process, get an accountant or at least go to an accountant, let them review your stuff, let them see what you're doing. Some of you, if you have a different type of business, you also may have to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Just let them see, hey, this is what I'm selling.
Yeah.
You know, how do I protect myself? And I think that's a huge step that kind of like a lot of people miss.
Yeah. No, I love it, love it, love it. What would you say is the most extravagant thing you guys done with money so far?
Our house is pretty dope.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a nice house. But you know what, Ash? It's not even extravagant, but this thing right here was priceless to me. I bought my freedom back. I bought my freedom back. Like, I now can determine how I spend my time.
Yeah.
We bought our mom's freedom back. They could work. By freedom, I don't mean we were slaves, but we used to have to go to a job every day. Right. Now we can sit and decide, oh, okay, we want to go on vacation for 7 days. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, we're not like flashy people per se. We're not, he's not a car guy. I love the house we have.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty dope. We've taken some lavish vacations. We like vacations. And, you know, we flew our team out last year, like our entire staff for a week. We did that. That was a pretty penny. So, but that wasn't a selfish gift either. That was like, you
that
know,
was impact.
Right.
That was
was
the most impactful thing.
So, yeah, listen, Ash, I've been broke long enough.
Yes.
I ain't trying to be broke.
Yes, what I'm saying.
I ain't trying to go back to that life.
Right,
So it's like,
right,
you know, like, yeah, I learned the lessons I needed to learn. And now we invest.
Yeah.
Put money in the stock market, crypto, all of that stuff. We're into art. We buy a lot of art.
Oh, we didn't even have that conversation.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
We got a lot of art.
Heavy into art.
Yeah, that's a wealth class in itself.
Oh,
like,
no, 100%. We have to do a redo.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do a show specifically on art.
Yeah.
Because full disclosure, we're part of the same mastermind, right?
Right.
So we invest in ourselves
Definitely.
a lot. You know what I'm saying?
It's very important you invest in yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely time. I mean, to be honest with you, it's been like such a crazy whirlwind. But my mom, she had cancer, and my father actually passed away. My mom had cancer, and I had to take her 3 weeks straight to the doctor.
Yeah.
And I was just on my own time. So to me, it's like material things are cool.
Yeah.
But when you can take your mom to the doctor 3 straight weeks without having to ask somebody.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the same time, your kids is in the car, you're dropping them off to school, but you're taking your moms. So you're showing them this is how you take care of your elders.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the freedom. So just that time is very important, you know? And you know, every now and then you buy some stuff you think is nice, but that's just material stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's time. Yeah.
All right, y'all. The 7, 8, 9-figure Nelsons are in the building. You know, we appreciate if somebody wanted to, you know, tap in with y'all, buy your products, join your challenges, like all of that good stuff, where can they find you?
So our website is www.sunnydenbigh.com. We're at Sunny Denbigh at
Spell Denbigh for us.
Okay, so it's SUNNYINDENIBH. Sunny Denbigh. That's Sunny Denbigh on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Yeah, at Sunny Denbigh. Yeah, so that's how they can find us.
All right, Jonathan and Gillian Nelson gave us the game on how to successfully create a family business and also create a business that's going to span multi-generations to build generational wealth, not just giving money, but giving knowledge that's going to help them get to that next level. All right, so we are closing out the vault. Another awesome episode of Inside the Vault. Make sure you go to our website, InsideTheVaultShow.com. Follow us everywhere on social media at Inside the Vault. Me, I am Ash Cash. Follow me, IamAshCash.com, and follow me all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. We'll see you next time for another powerful episode of Inside the Vault. In God's will, same time, same place. Peace!
Oh yeah. You won't ask cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.